Today we're playing Star Wars the deck building game solo. Now, there's a ton of solo modes on BGG already, but this one is the one that seemed to be the most popular. It's Spanish, so needed translating, not hard via Google Translate, and it is the hand solo activation variant. I am, of course, playing the Rebels for the first game, as I feel like being a decent guy today, but this is the initial row of cards available, Andor and Luke being expensive but very useful, and the Empire AI has a TIE bomber on offer. We're playing on the easy difficulty, so the bot has its starting planet with 8 defense. Then I drew a 14 and 16 defense one at random, getting Catherine and the Death Star. Our 3 planets are Dantooine, Alderaan, and Sullust. We also have the Force, so let's get on with the game, shall we? The bot always goes first, and so it draws the rightmost card that is Empire or neutral, ignoring the smuggler cards. So it picks up the Gunslinger. That card then stays in play on their side until I destroy it or end up destroying the base. And those actions will pop off every turn. So they attack my base for 2, as they can't destroy either a ship or a card in the galaxy row that gives them their bonus. The cards will always try to maximise their bonus abilities, as the galaxy row slides to the right and the AT-ST comes into the row. So it's on to my turn, and using my 4 Alliance shuttles along with my 5th point from the Force, I decide to buy Cassian Andor, who's strength 5, so he's pretty decent in a fight, and I kill the Gunslinger with my Rebel Troopers 2 strength. Now, when you do defeat enemy cards in their play zone, you don't get the bonus, unlike when you take them out in the row. But on the bot's next turn, they draw the TIE bomber, who instantly destroys Luke before they shoot my base for 2, meaning it only has 4 health remaining. So I play 3 Alliance shuttles, which lets me buy a Fang fighter. When bought, that goes straight into my hand, and I draw another shuttle. So I decide to kill the TIE bomber with the Rebel Trooper, and then using the Fang Fighter and Temple Guardian, I shoot their base for 4. The bot picks up the TIE Interceptor, which reveals a Jabba card. If it was an Empire one, they would have received it for free. If it was a Rebel, they would have killed it, but since it's Jabba's and he's neutral, he just goes into the row and they deal 3 damage to my base, leaving it on 1 health. For my turn, I first play my 3 shuttles to buy the Rebel Commando, which I for some reason used instantly to discard their TIE Interceptor, and I shouldn't have. I blame the kids for playing around me on a Saturday, making me all confused, but I then used the Rebel Trooper to deal 2 damage to their base before using Andor to destroy the AT-ST for 4. Now, when that went down, I could exile 2 cards from my discard, so I decided to exile both Rebel Troopers, and I could do that as once used in this game, they go into the discard pile straight away. So with my last 1 power, I just hit their base, and it's still very close with both of us on 1 health. The bot picks up the Quarian Mercenary, would exile another card from their play area, which would have got rid of that card that I just happened to accidentally kill. But since they don't have any in this version of the game, they just destroy my base. I flip over Alderaan, which would have given me 4 force, but it's already with me, so I purchase the Blockade Runner, who will hopefully provide much needed defense very soon, and I blow up their base with my Temple Guardian, which kills the Merc, but they will now buy 2 cards every single turn. So they flip over Catherine, and we need to capitalise here as they buy an Imperial carrier that just protects their base, and a Scout Trooper whose only action is to gain force if the top card of the row deck is Empire, or exile it. If it's Rebels, they have no attack right now, so we have something to work with as they exile a B-Wing. We buy our Snowspeeder with our shuttle. I use Andor to blow up their Imperial carrier. I then use both the Fang and Rebel Commando to do 6 damage to their base, exiling the Scout Trooper with it, as that's when you actually use the ability. So I did it properly this time. The bot buys Jabba and the Mystic, pulling the force towards them by 4 and deals 2 damage to my base. But unfortunately, they then exile themselves from play. I decide to buy Jyn Erso, going full Rogue One in my deck, it seems, with 3 shuttles and my Temple Guard, before dealing 3 damage to their base, meaning it has 5 health left. The bot buys the Quarian Mercenary and a TIE Fighter, though, meaning they deal 6 damage to my base, leaving it on just 6 health. So much for that minor advantage right there. As I have a bad hand of cards. Yes, I can put the Blockade Runner in place, which destroys the TIE Fighter, but it's going down next turn, and so I decide to buy IG-88, as I don't want them having 5 power on their side. Quick note, when the bot can't buy a card like it couldn't after picking up the Imperial carrier, you discard the entire row and then give them the first card it can buy from the new row. So here it picks up an ATST, and suddenly I'm panicking, as not only do they blow up my blockade, but they also deal my planet 4 damage, meaning it just has 2 health remaining. But we fight on. By buying an Outer Rim pilot with our shuttles, I then use Andor to blow up their carrier, and then use the Fang Fighter and Snowspeeder to shoot their base for 1 damage, blowing up the AT-ST and getting rid of the Quarian, utilising the Snowspeeder's little ability right there. But the bot does get a great turn. It gets the Gazanti Cruiser and Z95 Headhunter, which blows up my base. So Sullust comes into play, and that lets me place the first card I buy on top of my deck. So with just 3 shuttles, I decide to pick up the Z95 that goes on top of my deck, and the Outer Rim pilot before blowing up the cruiser with my Rebel Commando that destroys their Z95. And then my Temple Guardian hits their base for 1 damage. So it has 4 health left, and I'm unsure how I'm going to destroy him at this point. As the bot picks up the Mysticism, which destroys itself after giving them full force, and the landing craft repairs their base for 4 damage. I decide to not buy anything with my 2 shuttles. Instead, I just blow up their landing craft with Jyn. Then I deliver 7 damage to their base, which leaves it on 1 health. They soon protect that with the Scout Trooper and Cruiser, but they don't attack, which is great for us, as it gives us some breathing room, and I decide to use that time to kill Tarkin and the TIE Fighter, as that there gives me some force and lets me buy not just the B-Wing, which will go straight into the top of my deck, but also the Smuggler. They do get more protection with the Frigate, but the Hawk exiles itself to repair 4 damage on their base. Using my B-Wing, Snowspeeder and Fang, I destroy the AT-AT, gaining me for free the Cruiser, which will go on top of me deck, whilst also taking out their Cruiser and the TIE Fighter in the row. Not a bad bit of shooting, but I just core damage the base at this point. I can though buy a Jawa and Baze from the row, which will be resetting very soon, as the bot draws a Cruiser and Frigate to its side, me getting a hefty defense after resetting the row of cards, but going all Mourinho does mean I suffer no damage. And that leaves me to pop off as I play the Rebel Commando to destroy their cruiser and then remove a frigate. I then use IG-88 to blow up the next frigate before putting my cruiser and blockade runner into play, which then, when used with my Temple Guardian that attacks, finally blows up their base, meaning they will draw 3 cards next round. And so it does mean we are on 1 base each, with the Death Star getting to use 4 attack power to take out a cruiser, but they currently only have 2 attack with Labot, so they just hit my blockade runner. During my turn, I kill the Death Troopers, bringing the force 1 away from my bonus on my end. I then destroy their cruiser and pop the Death Star for 2, but I know it will be repaired. It just gets rid of that card early, but I do buy the Hammerhead, which will go on top of my deck, and so I should have some good defense next turn. At least I thought that before they picked up Lando, the cruiser, and the landing craft, gaining 4 power to destroy my cruiser with the Death Star and using their last power to hit my blockade. I, though, decide to bring in my Corvette and buy an X-Wing which goes on top of my deck before shooting 16 damage at the landing craft, cruiser and Death Star, which receives 9 damage, just over half. Not bad, I say, though I feel some pain will be coming my way, and yeah, it's definitely brutal as the big dogs of the Empire suddenly merge on the Galaxy Row, and Lando, the Blockade Runner, the Death Trooper, and Bosk destroy all my ships and deal 5 damage to me. So I use Jin to blow up their blockade, and then I fire absolutely everything I've got at the Death Star, one of which was the X-Wing, so no doubt Luke had the Force with him to fire that 1 in a million shot, which ended up being great, and we win the game. So what do I think of Star Wars the Deck Building game? I think it's a pretty decent one-on-one, but solo ain't where it's at with this one, I feel. Unless they do an expansion which brings a much better mode along with it, I felt hamstrung. I feel like I had to just buy attack cards and then attack the base as much as I could, because they didn't do anything but that. There's no thought process of eliminating cards here and there. It's just receive 1, 2, 3 cards after their bases have gone, and attack, attack, attack. And I feel it forced me down one set path of just buy the best attackers or cards which remove their cards from their play zone. And I think it will get boring very fast, regardless of difficulty. But I feel my son will enjoy this one, as it's more of a one-on-one. And so at the minute, I quite honestly recommend this for solo players at its base game level, unless you're happy with a set structure of your play and tactics. This one, for me, is a much better 2-player experience. And with that, I bid you adieu. Thanks for watching.